What is going on, everyone? My name is Boyd, and I'm back with some more Age Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the bottom of the map in the red color, playing as Zeus. His name is Shadowfaxx. His opponent today in the blue color, also playing as Zeus. His name is Shelty. The map is Anatolia, and this is a best of 7. However, we might be finishing it out of best of 5 because I believe Shelty has to go fairly soon. For AOL Destroyer's Showmatch for the upcoming Nilla tournament in early 2021. He said he normally hosts them around Christmas time. And with this comes in a whole new subsequent set of rules. And I feel like I'm going to take this time just to talk about what imposing God restrictions does in a tournament. So, for the players, you can play all the gods. It doesn't hurt them at all. Like, yes, if I were to play a tournament, I would probably play only Zeus and Ra, probably, and maybe some Set, or maybe some Isis, maybe one of those 3 gods, 3 or 4 gods. And probably Thor, actually, because he is a tier 1 god, right? But what it means is, if you're going to do a god restriction thing, this is kind of what we're seeing in this series, is that the players go through what their strongest gods are, and oftentimes it means you're going to see a lot of mirror gods. And that's what happens when you use these sorts of god restrictions. You see a lot of mirrors as you just go through the tiers, and eventually, if you get down to a 7th game, you'll see those low tiers fighting each other, which not necessarily a bad thing by any stretch, but that's just sort of what's going to happen. So if you see a really strong random god player, what's going to happen is the first 3 games or 4 games are going to be all Zeus, all Egyptian gods, and then the next 3 games are going to be all Poseidon / Hades / Norse gods. That'll be the general gist of it. So just something to think about. And honestly, if you guys have any ideas about how to impose god restrictions that spice up the sort of god matchups you're going to get that you don't normally see, like say you really want to see like a Poseidon versus Thor thing, you really want to see Odin versus Loki, you really want to see Loki versus Hades matches and stuff. I don't know. It's interesting. How do you create a rule set that makes that important? Anyways, let's talk about this game for a little bit. Zeus Mirror on Anatolia brings me back to my early days when I watched I believe I watched AOM King versus Jesus Christ Amen. If I recall the names correctly, I could be wrong, but they played an Anatolia Zeus Mirror, and it was the most bloodbath game I've ever seen. It was just like 20 minutes of pure death on the land. I think they split the water early, and then they just went a crazy amount of Hoplite Toxotes in the land, which, if you have any idea about how that works, it often ends in lots of Toxotes being left over and not a lot of hoplites, but they just kept on fighting, and it was hilarious as they were just so aggressively trying to control gold. But who knows what's happening here? We are seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 villages only on wood for Shadowfaxx, compared to Shelty, who's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 villages on wood. If you've watched any of, I'm going to give him a shout out because he's in the chat. If you watch any of Peggy Rush's Zeus builds on Anatolia, he likes to go 10 villages on wood, and that's going to net him all 18 fishing ships plus 2 docks on each side, so 4 total docks, and he gets up to the classical age at the very latest 530, and oftentimes hits 515 with that build. If I'm wrong about that one, you can correct me, but the build is pretty much standard meta. I think it might be a Mr. build, but I like to give credit to the people who are still playing the game who do it. So there you go. So neither player going for that one, and we can see that both players advancing, probably advancing a little bit later than they should have anyways. And we do see 9 fish here for Shadowfaxx plus 3 over here, so he's only on 12 fish. And Shelty, on the other hand, I think he's actually short a fishing group here, as this spawns a little bit funky like. And he's sort of got kind of short fishing ships as well. He's still building them though as it's coming out, and the docks are all up. It's just a little bit funky, and getting those 10 villages on wood does fix it all up. And by getting the extra fishing ships out, it does kind of make up for the fact that you weren't gathering from food, and you do get up at the same time. So there's no reason not to do it. There's the Athena for Shelty, and there's the Athena for Shadowfaxx. Obviously, restoration, very, very important in this matchup. And in effect, I think we're seeing, on the top side of the map, we're seeing short fishing spots here for Shadowfaxx, just like Shelty was shorted on the bottom side of the map. So, oh, no, I tell a lie, it's there. Yeah, it's there. And here we go. We've got relics on the map. Kithara of Apollo, big relic there. Probably not going to see it grab, but it is huge. There's a bolt onto the trireme, as Shelty going to be retreating here, already under attack, and fighting back here without bolting would probably be a mistake. Holding onto that bolt, maybe for a Jason or an Odysseus. Potentially here, popping out Jason and Odysseus and doing some land harass with while the bolt's being used is not a bad idea for Shelty, and he's kind of got even-ish trireme here. So he doesn't need to bolt this at all if he doesn't really care about winning the situation. We do see some trireme coming in onto the top side of the map. Shelty doesn't have that many trireme here, so he will have some sort of an advantage over on that location. There's the bolt coming down by Shelty. Shadowfaxx does cast Restoration, trying to keep this trireme alive, but doesn't get that one back to full HP. We are seeing these trireme fighting nicely here. And it's looking like it's still fairly even. Shadowfaxx retreating these trireme back, and he is pulling in Shelty, but Shelty is able to just keep chasing down. No badness there, and this trireme will be falling. Well, he does pull that one back with 13 HP. Another couple of trireme for Shelty are falling, and Shadowfaxx looks like at this stage he may be in the lead of the numbers on this location. Meanwhile, he's on the top of the map doing a little bit of micro up here as well. He's going to be winning the top side of the map as well, and the bottom side. Shelty 2 trireme on the bottom side versus 5 on the top side. It's 3 versus 3, and we are seeing nice micro from Shelty pulling these boats back, and Shelty will probably go all in on this bottom side of the map anyways, because there's more fishing ships here, or fishing spots here, I should say, and he can very well win that one, whereas on this side, probably going to be a little bit of a difficult situation to be in. Looking how many extra trireme are here. And here we go. We are seeing Shelty not actually going very hard on this top side like he probably should be here, but a little bit of a lull here. What are we seeing? Nothing getting built just yet. We've got archery ranges coming up now for Shelty. The trireme fighting back against Shadowfaxx. Shadowfaxx is still defending this very nicely. I think he's just straight winning here. I think. I don't see Shelty making a comeback on this side of the water, like very easily at all. Do we see some buildings coming up? Military academies, archery ranges. And what are we seeing here? Archery ranges, military academies for Shadowfaxx as well. Honestly, a little bit of a surprise, because I'm pretty sure that Pure Hippocon is just better in this matchup on this map. You go Pure Hippocon, you get Spirited Charge plus Thracian Horses here, and there's really nothing that beats it, even if you have Hoplite out. But also Shelty, especially if you won this much of the water already, you've got such an advantage on fish economy. But we'll see what happens here. It's looking like Shelty is kind of just going to go for an all-in. The Scattercops does spot this military academy here. I don't know if he spotted everything else, but the army is moving forward as the villagers coming forward looking to potentially grab this town center. There is no ceasefire or something. Does that mean we're seeing a... No, not a town center. You can't get that one just yet. Probably some docks going up here to fish up this side of the water. Meanwhile, Shelty moving in, going to be able to start fighting this. There's not that many units on this location here, so he will have the Jason out as well, so that's a big advantage. There's a Jason for Shadowfaxx, and Shelty going to be able to win for a little bit on this land here, but there's enough buildings up right now for Shadowfaxx, I think, in order to defend. He is turning around fighting. This is a bit of a mistake, losing a lot of these units here to the Toxotes. Needs to micro his Toxotes away from the Hoplites, and he is going to be doing so. But the Hoplites do run much faster than these Toxotes. They are very much out of position here, but he does pick off all those Hoplites on the bottom there. Toxotes going to be getting into position to fight. More units coming in here for Shelty, fighting on two different fronts. There's the Odysseus out for both players as well. Looks like this army at the top is going to be very, very close to cleaning up Shelty's army. Or maybe it's quite close there, but can't tell who's winning at this point. This is kind of chaos with units kind of everywhere, fighting left, right, and center. There's a Minotaur, though, for Shelty here. Very, very expensive unit, but going to come in very clutch here as the heroes will get taken out. We are seeing Shadowfaxx's Jason about to fall. Does slice the Minotaur once, and the Minotaur picks off one Hoplite now. And it's looking like, while Shadowfaxx has some units out, he's struggling to produce at the same rate that Shelty has, or maybe he is. I'm not even sure. We are seeing him moving over onto this location. The large gold mine here. Military academy archery range going down on that gold mine. There's really some awkward gold mine placements here for Shadowfaxx, so he does have to figure out something to do here. We see the Minotaur getting targeted down by that Odysseus. He's got only 50% PS armor, so he goes down very, very fast against the Odysseus. And now the army of Shadowfaxx looks like it's more than enough to clean up Shelty in this position here. I'm still surprised to see these archer ships just not fighting during this situation. You can always go for those fights while the fight's happening in the middle of the map, but he's not doing it. We do see the villager gets picked off. Hoplites get picked off as well. Toxotes picking off everything else, and Shelty's push looks like it's been thwarted. There are medium Toxotes for both players, but I do think that medium Toxotes is the worst of all of the medium upgrades you can get, because it's 10% bonus. It's based off your base things, and the Toxotes actually have the lowest base hit points, the lowest base damage. So getting medium hoplite or infantry on the other hand is much more efficient, much better use of the resources. That being said, wood does gather faster, so I guess. And now Shadowfaxx has out his own Minotaur. Got to get that Odysseus onto the Minotaur there. He's not doing so just yet, and we are seeing some villagers getting picked off, and Shelty is having to retreat as Shadowfaxx has got such a huge advantage right now, picking off the villager in the back. Minotaur coming in here, going to be hitting these villagers. The Odysseus yet again snipes that. They sniped that Minotaur so fast. It's probably not worthwhile building in this matchup unless you're building like quite a few of them, because then you can pick off the Odysseus while he's floundering around with the Minotaurs. And more units getting sniped here by Shelty, though. Looks like he's got the Toxotes out now, though, so he's not losing any sort of land here. He's just behind on the economy a little bit, and he's actually managed to defend. So I think Shadowfaxx here will probably... He's got Persine, he's got copper weapon or copper shields. What does Shelty have? He doesn't have any armory upgrades. I wouldn't be surprised to see Shadowfaxx hit the heroic age here, but he's actually getting caught out here, and he needs to build more units, because at this point, this ball of units for Shelty, even though Shadowfaxx has got the economic bonus or the economic advantage here, this ball of units just wins against what he's got. And there's the Dionysus. Explains a lot about what's going on here. We can now start seeing both players go Dionysus. The bronze gets used. This is absolutely huge for Shelty because his army is just stronger. But we'll see. Will the armory technologies for Shadowfaxx come in clutch? Will the upgrades, like heavy upgrades, come in? Oh, he's making a pacifist. You don't want to make a pacifist here. They get picked off so fast. They've only got 27% pierce armor compared to Hoplite, just 31%. And the Hoplite also has more HP. So they just tank the Toxotes so much better. But it is looking like Shadowfaxx does manage to defend here as Shelty has to retreat just a little bit. There's the Odysseus. Gets taken down. And more units flooding in here. Both players making a pacifist for some reason. Yes, the pacifist costs low gold, but they're just not worth what the hoplite's worth, honestly. These units over here sniping villages while this fight's going on. And Shelty, it looks like he's winning, but I think units are just flooding at this point, and it's very difficult to tell what's happening. I can't make my mind up, but it is looking like Shelty thinks like he should retreat here, but he kind of has the army advantage. I don't know. He should keep pushing. Maybe making some peltas wouldn't have been a bad idea if you can micro them. More units getting. There's heavy Toxotes out now for Shadowfaxx. Big upgrade for sure. I wonder if this is a bonus. If this gives the bonus, because he's sitting on the top of the cliff. If he hits the bottom Toxotes, I think you get an extra elevation bonus here. I'm not sure if it's enough though. The elevation bonus, you have to be quite a bit higher up to get that advantage. But yet again, this is looking like Shelty just has just a clear-cut army size advantage because there's so many trireme off on the side here. You know, seeing that Odysseus in the back doing a lot of extra help. Seeing some peltas coming out though. You got to go after the peltas fast. They've got low HP and they die very quickly to the Toxotes. They do a lot of damage to the Toxotes though. And now this is basically just a ball of Toxotes versus a ball of Toxotes. And Shadowfaxx is tanking with the hoplites while his Toxotes is doing so much. This is why I thought making some Hippocon a really good idea here, because this is generally how these fights end up happening. Villagers coming in to push back against Shelty, who's trying to micro back. And now the villagers are role-playing as a hoplite here. But a little bit less HP, less damage, but that's what they're doing. Still, and now we've got town centers coming up for Shadowfaxx. He is powering in front right now, and it's looking like there isn't a lot of chance for Shelty at this point. He is making some Hydra though. This Hydra coming clutch with the Odysseus in the back with only 19 HP. He does have to attack it though with something otherwise. Look at all of this value he's getting. The Hydra's trying a nice micro from Shadowfaxx to pull back there, but now Shelty does tap out there. GG. Well played by Shadowfaxx. Taking this game, going up 3-2 in this series. Just much stronger economic situation for Shadowfaxx over Shelty here. And Shelty says go one more, so we'll move on to game number 6 very, very quickly.